Hello grade 3, it's me again. I'm back here to share my maths lesson with you today, and it's such a good day to be able to come and join you, is it not? So, with no further ado, let's get on with it. And of course, I know I repeat myself every maths lesson, but it's very important, and I'm very proud to announce that we bring these lessons to you via WorksheetCloud, and there is the email address if you or your parents want to ask me any questions. But before we do go ahead, grade 3, today it is a very special person in my family's birthday. And while we were chatting today, I suddenly thought to myself, my goodness me, there must be a lot of grade 3s out there who have a birthday to celebrate today as well. So put up your hands if it's your birthday today. Yeah, that's fabulous, and congratulations, happy birthday. We celebrate your birthday today because you were born a few years back, 8 or 9 or 10 years ago, and that's something to celebrate because you made the world a better place. But I had Chelsea and Dexter come to me and say they would like to actually really wish everybody as well because they've been practicing their singing. And so I agreed to this. So I hope you enjoy this grade 3. So here's Chelsea and Dexter singing happy birthday to you. Well, Chelsea and Dexter, thank you so much. That was really special, and I'm sure that the children really enjoyed that. Thank you. I love your outfits. You look ever so smart. Well done. No, Chelsea, no, Dexter, you can't just take over this lesson, guys. You really and truly can't. So, I would like you to go and get on now and go and have your breakfast, dogs. Okay, love you to bits. Right, grade 3s. Now, I just wanted to tell you that you need a pencil and paper or a little booklet or pen available so that you can do some calculations for me. If you don't have that right now, then just pause the video and off you go and get yourself a pencil and a paper, and then when you come back, we'll be ready to start. Today's lesson I have named Number Mixed Bag 1. So, and I wanted to just explain something to you, grade 3s. Over the last few weeks, I have been dealing with certain maths concepts, whether it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, doubling and halving, sharing and grouping, fractions, shape, word problems, place value, and all those very important things that we need to know to build on in grade 3. And there's my picture of those gorgeous mixed bag of sweets. So that's what I kind of think about when I think of a mixed bag. So now, when I call it a mixed bag, I mean I'm going to take what we've learned over the last few weeks and I'm going to reinforce those concepts, or I'm going to practice them every day for a little while so that this can be cemented in your mind and you can get really good at what we have learned over the last few weeks. So, on we go. But before we do anything, I thought we'd do some maths riddles for the day. And you can share these with your family and your friends because, you know what? We like to start our day on a positive, happy, lovely, laughy note. So let's get on with it. Oh. And our first riddle is, which month has 28 days? Now, my answer was February, and you would be right. But this is a riddle, remember? So there's always going to be a little twist in the tale. all of them, of course, January to December, all have got 28 days at least. The next one, I know there's a bit of a giggle. Yes, that's a naughty little chipmunk laugh. The next riddle is, what's the easiest way to double your money? Now, I want to find out how to do this because I need to double my money. Put it in front of a mirror. And the last one, what has a face and two hands but no arms or legs? Grade 3, I think some of you will probably get this. Think about it. A face, two hands, but it's got no arms and legs. It's a clock, of course. Yes, well done. Right, so what will we focus on today? It's important to know what we're going to be learning and where we're going from now on. The first thing we're going to be focusing on will be concepts that we've covered so far, and I explained that earlier. We're going to be looking at 2 times, 5 times, 10 times, and 11 times tables. We're going to be counting. We're going to be looking at place value again and revising that, revising doubling and halving. We're going to be looking at word problems, and then I brought in a couple of little 3D shape problems as well for us to revise and focus on. Right, our tables quiz, and this is now where you're going to need a pen and paper, grade 3. And I'm going to put this little tables quiz up on the screen, and I'm going to actually ask you to pause the video because I don't want to sit and waste time for those of you who aren't able to do it right now, or if some of you are quicker than others, and it just takes the pressure off. So you can take as long as you need to finish this. You might want to even time yourself with one of your parents' phones, or perhaps a watch or a clock. Right, so there's our tables sheet as it is now. So what I would like to suggest is you write numbers 1 to 20 on your page before you start this, and then once you've written 1 to 20 down, you can just write your answers and time yourself. And we can see, because I'm going to focus on this in your next maths lesson, the same 2 times, 5 times, 10 times, and 11 times. I'll just switch the problems around, and you can see if the next lesson shows that you have improved. So everybody pause the video now, and let's see how you do. Ready, steady, go, grade 3s. Right, so how did you do, everybody? Shall we put the answers on the screen now, and you're going to mark it accurately and carefully, and you're going to count up how many you got right. If there's some that you got wrong, no problem at all. We learn as we go along. You're just going to focus on those and see if you can learn those in the next few days. Right, so 3 times 10 is 30. 5 times 11, 55. 7 times 5, 35. 7 times 11, well, you know, you just double your little number, 77. 11 tens, number gains a naught, 110. 8 twos, 16. 4 11s, 44. 9 tens, 90. 8 times 5 is 40. Right, numbers 11 to 20 now. 4 times 10 is 40. 6 11s, 66. 2 11s, 22. 12 times 2, 24. 5 times 10, 50. 12 11s, 132. Those are the ones that Mrs. Harwin always, I get mixed up with that one all the time. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 tens is 60. And 5 times 12 is 60 as well. Oh, well done. Fabulous. Okay, now we're going to do some counting. This is also very important because this shows us patterns, and I always remind you that patterns are what maths is all about, or is what maths is all about. So here we have our number lines, grade 3, and I'm going to zoom in and count firstly in threes, and then I want to count in 30s, and I want you to see the relationship, the family connection between counting in threes and counting in 30s. So let's start. 3, 6, count along with me, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and 33. Now we're going to count in 30s. Notice that 30 is 10 times bigger than 3 because 3 times 10 is 30. So if we're counting in 30s, we are following the same pattern, but each number is going to be 10 times bigger than when we counted in threes. Let's have a look. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330. Right, so we've counted in threes and now we've counted in 30s. Now I'm going to count in 15s. 15 is half the size of 30. Let's go. These are important grade 3s that you actually practice this quite often, even not when we've got something on the screen, but it's really good because it helps you get your answers much more quickly when you are doing calculations. Right, so 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135, 150, and 165. Okay, and you can notice here that the 15 is half of 30, 30 is half of 60, 45 is half of 90, and so on. Now the next interval we're going to count on is 25s, one of our favorites, and it's so important you know how to do this without having to even think. So 25, 50, 75, 100. Now that pattern repeats itself, starting from 100 again, 125, 150, 175, 200. Again the pattern starts, 225, 250, 275, and of course the next one would be 300. And the last number we're going to count in now, grade 3s, is 50, which is double 25. Right, so starting with 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, and 550. So let's make sure that we focus on those when we are thinking about our maths counting from now on. Right, so the next topic we're going to look at is place value, where our numbers are positioned in houses. Right, so place value deals with where a number is. Depending on which house your number is, will determine what the value of that number actually is. So let's investigate further. The first house is where we put the thousands. The next one is for the hundreds, then the tens, and then the ones or the units. So let's have a look at the number 93. Remember, the 9 is in the tens column, so it's now valued at 90 and not just 9. So where does the 9 go? In the tens column. And the 3 is just 3 little ones, goes in the units column or the ones column. Our next number is 146. Look at the 1. It's still a 1, but it's in the hundreds column. So now it is worth 100. The 4 goes in the tens column because there are 4 tens, which is the same as 40, and then 6 in the units column. The next one now. So I'm just going to move myself up here so that I don't interfere. 603. Well, of course, the 6 must go in the hundreds column. And there are no tens, so we put a 0 as a placeholder. It holds the place for the 10. And then the 3 goes in the units column. Right, now 1,111. I've specifically chosen all these ones because I want to show you how they change in value as they go from house to house. So let's look at the first one. 1,000 is 1 in the thousands column. 100 is a 1 but in the hundreds column. So now all of a sudden it's much more important than when it's in the tens column or the units column. So guys, I hope that helps you with place value, because place value is really, really important. Doubling and halving, also one of my favorite things to do, grade 3. Double means to multiply by 2, and halve means to divide by 2 or halve the number. Right, let's start with doubling. There's my number, 233. 200s, 3 tens and 1 unit. I'm going to split that number up, which we do often when we're doing calculations. It just makes life a lot easier, into 230 and 1. Now I can double 200, which is 400. I can double 30, which is 60. And I can double 1, which is 2. But now I can't just leave them split up. I now have to join them up again. So 400 plus 60 plus 2 is 462. Easy. Halving now. Right, what is halving? We're sharing 486 Rand or whatever it might be with 2 people. We're dividing by 2. Sharing and dividing means the same thing. But first I need to split my number. Most important, because it's easier to calculate with numbers that are split up. All I have to do, instruction, is to halve that number. What's half of 400? 200. What's half of 80? 40. What's half of 6? 3. Right, so now I can't just leave them split up. That wouldn't be fair. They are incomplete numbers. So now 200 plus 40 plus 3 is 243. So half of 486 is 243, and double 231 is 462. Right. Moving on now to, what's next? I can't remember. Oh, yes, word problems. This is sometimes a tricky thing for us, but remember I gave you strategies to use when you are solving problems, and you will learn some more as you move on up in the school. But for the moment, these are the things I want you to focus on when you are tackling a word problem. Read carefully and underline the question. What do we already know? What do we still need to find out? And then to do that, we need to highlight the numbers and circle the keywords. Then we solve the problem and write our answer sentence. So let's get on with it. Mrs. Jackson sells ice creams at the shop. At the beginning of the week, she has 542 ice creams. At the end of the week, she has 128 ice creams. How many ice creams did she sell that week? So what is my first instruction? Read carefully and underline the question. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. We've read it carefully. I'm going to now underline the question. And it is, how many ice creams did she sell? Not how many ice creams did she start off with, or how many ice creams she ended up with. So I'm going to highlight our keyword. How many ice creams did she sell? What do we already know? Grade 3. So I'm going to change my color here. What do we already know? We know that she sold ice creams. And she started off with 542. And she ended off with less, which means this is a subtraction sum. And we've been asked to find out how many she sold. So, with no further ado, I'm going to do this and solve this problem using lock and split method. Now, you remember there is the leapfrog method, and we'll probably focus on that a little bit more next time. So, she started with 542 ice creams, right? She minused or subtracted or sold she ended up with 128 ice creams. How many did she sell? So what do we need to find out? The difference between the two, and that is subtracting. And remember, I always lock the first number. Okay, so 542 minus 100. I split 128 because it makes it easier, as I explained to you in doubling and halving, is 442. So we've subtracted 100. But what about the 20? Now we've got 442 ice creams having sold 100 minus 20 equals 422. So now we've got 422 ice creams having sold a further 20, but we still have to sell 8. So 422 minus 8 is, yes, 414. Well done. Okay, does that make sense, grade 3s? Remember that. So there's my sentence. As I said to you before, I like you to write a sentence so that you can complete your calculation and answer the question, because the question is, how many ice creams did she sell? And I'm answering the question like you would in a comprehension lesson in English. Right, so on we go to our next activity, and we are going to look at 3D shapes just very briefly, and I'm going to look at aspects of shapes and space and shape as we go along in the next few weeks. Right, and what we're going to focus on is 3D shapes, of course, today, and I'm going to look at 3 aspects of shapes. The first one is I want you to identify and see if you can remember from your last shape lesson where the edge is of each of these shapes. And I always remind my classes that the edge is something that you can jump off. So there's an edge and there's an edge. The first shape is a rectangular prism, and the next shape, the one on the other side, is a cube. Right, and so if I jumped onto that cube, I could hop off that edge. The next aspect of shapes, or 3D shapes, is the face, or the flat side of a shape. And there is the flat side of that shape, and there's the flat side or face of that shape. And the last one we're going to look at is the vertex, which is another name for the point. And if I've got more than one vertex, it is a vertice, but vertex is the singular, not the plural. But there are 2 vertices, or lots of vertices, on this slide. But let's point to that one and to that little point. And now we're going to look at the last shape, 3D shape, which is a pyramid. And we are going to now identify the vertex first. There it is, the point, the corner, the point in the vertex. The next one is the flat part, or the face. There's the face. And the last one is the edge. Great stuff. Now, our puzzle finisher, or finishing off puzzle, just to wind us down from our maths lesson. And today we're going to do our number pyramids. And each of these number pyramids has got a different rule. If you have a look at the first one, grade 3, I'm just going to get my highlighter or my laser. Look at the first one, grade 3. 3 here plus 5 obviously equals 8. So that's my pattern. I have to add the bottom 2 numbers to get the top number. So let's see, what do you think will be this number? What do I have to add to 4 to get 6? Well, of course, now 4 plus 2 is 6. What do I need to add to 8 to make it 15? Well, 8 and 7 is 15. Then we can go ahead and add 7 and 6 to get the next number, which is 13. And then 13 plus 15 is 28. So we've now completed our first number pyramid. Here's the next one, but this one has got a slightly different rule that we have to apply to all the little calculations here. Let's have a look at the first one. 3 plus 4, well, we know that that is 7, but that answer is 8. So we're going to add 1 each time. So 3 plus 4 is not enough yet. We're only halfway done. We've got to add 1 more to get to 8. So if we look at 4 plus 4, well, we know that that is 8, plus 1 That's the rule. Add the two bottom numbers and then add 1 is 9. 4 plus 5, have a look at the bottom, what's already done for us is 9 plus 10, plus 1 is 10. Now we're going to add 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is 17, plus 1 is 18. And if we add 9 and 10, the answer is 19, but we haven't finished yet. We have to add 1, so we get to 20. Then 18 plus 20 is absolutely right. 38 plus 1 is 39. And we are now done with our lesson today, grade 3s. And remember, you can go and upload or download a worksheet and its answers. Get on with your worksheet, and it will be involving all the topics that I've covered today for you to practice. So, with no further ado, grade 3s, I would like to say a very, very happy goodbye. Have a lovely day, and again a special, special wish to everybody who has a birthday today. So lots of love from me. Have a beautiful day, and I love you to bits. I'm so grateful that I can come and share my time and my lessons with you. So from me, grade 3, Leah's your maths teacher. Goodbye now.